Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm NIAMBI. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video and happy Halloween. So in honor of Halloween, today I am going to be focusing on how I got this eye look using the Gather Around Sisters Hocus Pocus palette with Colourpop. I am obsessed with Hocus Pocus. It is my favorite Halloween movie ever since I was a little girl. So if you want to see how I got today's look, keep on watching and make sure to subscribe to my channel. Now let's get into it. Okay, so we're gonna get started with the brows, and I'm gonna go in with the NYX Micro Brow Pencil in the shade Black. And I'm just gonna use this to outline my brows and fill them in as well. Because of COVID, I haven't been going to get my eyebrows done. I used to get them first waxed and then threaded. I've just been kind of doing them myself and cleaning them up with a face razor that I got from TJ Maxx. And I just think that it's so much more efficient to do it that way. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Just outline and then fill them in. It's okay if they look crazy and a little bold at first, because we're gonna go in and carve them out with some concealer. Alright, so now that we have our brows outlined and filled in, I'm gonna go in with some concealer. Today we're gonna use the NARS Soft Matte Complete Concealer in the shade Chestnut. And I'm just gonna go in with this Alamar Cosmetics flat defining brush and just use this to carve out the shape. I really like using concealers in the pods to carve out the brows because I feel like they're thicker and they're a little bit more creamy in consistency. Another trick, if you don't have like a thicker concealer, is if you have a foundation stick, then you can also utilize that to carve out your brows. I'm just gonna do the same thing on the other side. And I'll go back in with the pencil if I feel like I cleaned up a little bit too much, just to get a little bit more of a precise line going. And then I'm just using the spoolie on the end just to kind of blend it all together and make sure that the product is evenly distributed. Now that I'm done with that, I'm just gonna go in and blend out that concealer with an e.l.f. Flawless Concealer brush. Alright, so now for the main event of this video, we're going to be going in with the Gather Around Sisters palette. This is a Colourpop and Disney collaboration. This packaging is so beautiful. As you can see, the front of the box that it comes in, we have the three sisters and the name of the palette. It also is like the spell book from the movie. And down here you can see the eye that was on the spell book. So I'm really excited about this. This palette retails for $22. Then you get 15 shades in this palette. There are a variety of types of shadows in this palette. So you got some matte, you got a pressed glitter, you got a bunch of shadows with micro glitter in them. And then you got a few shimmers, and then there's a variety of different colors. So you have some greens, you have pinky purples, browns, and a bunch of like neutral cool tone shadows as well in this palette. So I'm gonna get started by prepping my eyelids with the NYX Proof It Waterproof Eyeshadow Primer. Sometimes I use primers, sometimes I use concealer. It just depends on the day. So I'll go in with some of that, and I'll just kind of like blend it out with my finger. So now that I have my lids primed, I'm gonna go in with the shade here, Hello Sailor. And I am gonna use a e.l.f. and J Kissa collab brush, and this is the J3 brush. I'm just gonna start by packing that in. I feel like this is like one of the only transition shades, at least for my skin tone, in this palette. On lighter skin tones, this might show up a little bit more light pink, but for me, this is a good transition shade and a good shade to set my primer. So I'm gonna go in with that in the crease and all over the lid to set that primer down. So now that we have our lids set with that Hello Salem shade, I'm gonna go in with the shade On Toast here, and I'm just gonna use that to deepen up my crease a little bit, and I'm gonna go in with that same blending brush by J Kissa, the number 3. So I started off by kind of packing it down, laying it down, and I'm gonna blend it out. And for this shade, I'm just gonna try to keep it in the crease as much as I can. And I'm just gonna keep going back in with that until I get a little bit deeper of a brown on the crease area. And so I'm taking the product and I'm pressing it down into the crease, packing it into the crease. And then I am going in with small circular motions to blend it out. Okay, so now that I have the shade On Toast down and blended out to the desired depth of that brown, I'm gonna go in with this shade Coven, and I'm gonna use a small packing brush from the BH and Nazanin brush collection set. And what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take some of that product and I'm gonna tap off the excess. And because this is a micro glitter, I'm gonna be packing it down rather than packing it and blending it out, because if you blend it out, you will lose the glitter. So I'm gonna just take it on my lid and I'm just gonna be pressing it down into my lid all over. So there is a decent amount of kickback in the pan when I pick up this shade, so just something to be aware of. If you want to reduce the amount of fallout on your face, which is going to contain a lot of glitter, then make sure to tap the excess off your brush before you go and pack that shade onto your lid. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with the Morphe 321 like pencil brush. It's a smaller brush to take some of that On Toast to try to blend this harsh line out. And I'm doing this so that the shadows can be seamless. And you really want to just take your time with this step. So now that it looks dark and crazy, happy Halloween everyone, I'm gonna go in and cut my crease. So today I'm gonna be using the NARS Creamy Radiant Concealer in the shade Ginger, which is a lighter shade. So I'm just gonna put some of that concealer on the back of my hand here, and then I'm going in with this Alamar Cosmetics brush. As you can see, it's like a rounded packing type of brush. I'm gonna just pick some of that concealer up and start cutting my crease. So a trick to cutting your crease is to take your time, but set down some of the concealer and then look up, and that will give you a little bit of an idea of how to go about cutting your crease. So then I'm gonna take a little bit more concealer and start trying to build up a cut crease and connecting some of the concealer that I picked up to that little spot that we had there that was guiding us to where we were gonna cut our crease. I'm gonna stop right here, which is about maybe 3/4 of the way. And then I'm gonna leave this Coven shade there and eventually blend that out. But for now, I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so now that my crease is cut, I'm gonna go in with the pressed glitter in the palette called Brew Potion, and I'm just gonna pack it on with my finger here. And then any of the areas that I can't get with my finger, I'm gonna go in with a brush. This is such a pretty golden glitter. Like, Colourpop is one of my favorite affordable places to get eyeshadow palettes, because the formula is just so great. It's so affordable. I mean, they perform so well, like a high-end palette almost, but I mean, you can get them for $22, $18, depending on what palette you get. When I first started out loving makeup, my first palette ever was the Going Coconuts palette by Colourpop, and my boyfriend got it for me for Christmas. So I will never get rid of that palette, and also it's just a great neutral palette. And I'm adding some more of the Coven shade on to the outer V of my eyes and blend the two together so it could be a little bit more seamless. So now I'm going in with the shade Full Moon, and I'm just adding a little bit of that to my brow bone for some brow bone highlight. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of that in my inner corner as well. So I'm going in with the NYX Epic Ink Liner in the shade Black. Let us pray, sisters. I think we need a form a calming circle.
I suggest we form a calming circle. I am calm!
So I'm starting off just with the tip of the liner very lightly and just kind of carving out where I want it to be, the wing. And then I'm gonna go in and connect. We can take a deep breath and pray that the other side is even. Okay, so now that we have a real nice and thick liner, I didn't anticipate it being this thick, but it happened. I am gonna go in with lashes today, and today I'm gonna use the e.l.f. Mink lashes in the style Drama Queen. First, I'm gonna go in and just make sure that I don't need to trim them and that they fit my eyes. Let's see. Oh. They're so beautiful. They fit perfectly. So a quick and easy way that I apply my lashes is I just go in with this Kiss Lash Glue Liner in the shade Black. So it just is like a liner, but it is glue. And with this, you do not have to wait for this to dry. In fact, you don't want to wait for this to dry because then your lashes won't stick. So I'm gonna go in and immediately apply the lash. And voila, so quick and so easy. So now I'm gonna do the other lash off camera. Oh, now that lashes are on, I am gonna pop off camera to complete the rest of my makeup, and I'll see you back here to finish the lower lashes. So I finished my makeup off camera, and I will link all of the products that I use to finish this look down below. So I'm gonna go in and just finish the bottom lash line with the shade Coven and with a small pencil brush, just pack that on. Be careful because this is a micro glitter, so you could possibly have some fallout while you're doing this. And then I'm just gonna go in with the Colourpop cream gel liner in the shade Overboard and just put that in my waterline. Completes this look for today. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you liked today's video, please make sure to give me a thumbs up, and please make sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos like this, and happy Halloween.